Hey, welcome. Enjoying your blended family. All the B-fams out there. What is happening on a fun Friday?
Yes, on Fun Fridays we bring you some fun ideas to do with your family. And like always, these are things that you can do as a whole family, or you can do it as a couple, or it can be these experiences that you have with your kids.
And why do we do it? We do it because this is what builds and grows strong relationships. And isn't that kind of what we need in a blended family? A lot more of that.
I think you are right. And for some reason, these mics and this background, guys, make us radio hosts. It just comes out of us so much more naturally with the new setup.
Welcome to Enjoying Your Blended Family Talk here on KSB 234391A.
And today we are talking about riding bikes with your family.
Riding bikes. I want to ride my bicycle. I want to ride my bike. Any Queen fans out there? Anybody?
Not good with that stuff, you know.
No? Okay.
And before we went live, because I had in my head the let's go fly a kite, but let's go ride a bike. And I was like, no, that's not the words.
Ride a bike up. That could work, though. It could work. It could work.
So I tell him, I was like, oh, is there any bike songs? He's like, I got one.
I got one in my head.
And I did not know that song, but I'm sure there are people out there that appreciated that greatly.
Come on, there it is, Queen right there. But we are talking bikes today and how we could take this and put it into our blended family for some fun, good times. So y'all stay tuned. This is going to be a good episode.
Hopefully you came back and you weren't like, riding a bike, come on.
Boring.
That's the same old thing. And that's the thing about our B-fam and our Fun Fridays is we share things with you that you're like, duh, we already know that. Duh, people ride bikes all the time. But you know what?
How many times have you done it?
That's the thing.
Well, we haven't really. It's been a minute. And then you start thinking back, and it's been like 20 years, and you're like, "Oh, dang!"
I'm gonna give you true confessions, Mom.
True confessions of a stepmom. Here we go.
Because I loved riding bikes growing up. I'll tell you, I was just telling this story with my daughter-in-law the other day about how to get off of a bike, and I did not know how to get off the bike, like to stop the bike. So we had this swing in our front yard, and I would just ride by the swing and grab the swing and let the bike keep going. I am a creative brain, okay? I don't think of the easy things like learning how to put my foot down and slow down a bike. I do weird things like that, but that's not even the confessions that I'm telling you, okay?
That's pretty intense. I never knew that about you.
You didn't know that?
I did not. I've never heard that story before. See, 14 years, still learning things. 15 years, actually.
And I don't know why
things.
I did that, why I had to grab a swing in order to stop. And that's the only place I could stop. And I have more bike stories to share. But bike riding is one of those things as a child that you just create these fond memories. Like I could go on and on about my fond memories of riding bikes as a child. I bet you could too.
Oh, I loved riding a bike as a kid. I still remember it was a blue bike and had so much fun on that. We would do crazy things. We would do just fun things. We'd all go riding the bike down the block. A lot of fun times. But it was one of those that when you grow up, you kind of forget about it in a sense. And I remember getting a bike whenever I was... I don't know, probably mid-20s. My mom, for one Christmas, I think it was, gave me a bike. And I hadn't been on a bike in forever. And I took it around the block, and I'm like, this is so fun. That was a blast. Why didn't I do that? So, yeah, it really is. It's one of those lost arts that we could really use in our blended family. And so, yeah, we're going to share a few things on how you can build relationships.
I didn't give them my confession yet.
Oh, you didn't give your confession?
That wasn't my confession.
Okay.
Well, this is going to actually be a confession.
This is a confession?
Like the poop joke one time that turned out not to be a poop joke.
That was not even a joke. That was a story.
But
so, let me tell you a joke. Okay, and no punchline. Hey, that's fun. So what's your confession? Let's hear your confession.
My confession
Please, here on live TV. Here on live channel 2.
I was one of those moms. For one, we tell you all the time, we were busy parents. We were busy.
We coined it involved. We were involved parents.
Involved parents.
That was just us lying to ourselves.
Church, involved in our career, very involved. And when I moved in with Randall, we lived on this busy street. And at the time, my youngest was 4, my oldest was 7. Around the time where you're learning bike riding skills, right? But because we lived on this busy street, they had just put on this highway that now we were like a cut through. I was always scared for my kids to go out and ride their bikes. So I didn't ever teach my kids to ride their bikes. They actually learned from grandparents' house. I remember my mom using a belt and wrapping it around Devin and just like holding him from behind so that because he was past the age of bike learning etiquette kind of stuff. And I never taught him. And
he was 20 years old. No.
No, but he was probably like maybe 10, like way past when you usually learn for him to be on training wheels still. So now it's like, okay, how are you going to learn how to ride a bike? But I'll just say, I wanted to share that story because I carried guilt inside of me that I let life be so busy that I didn't take the time to teach my kids to ride a bike, because I had so many memories from my childhood of me and my friends. Like, we thought we owned the streets because we rode our bikes everywhere. So that being said, if you haven't taught your kids to ride a bike, it's not too late.
It's not too late. It's never too late. Go get a belt and wrap it around them and use that technique.
And hang a
there
swing
you go.
off a tree in your yard.
You don't even have to know how to get off. All you got to do is grab the swing and let the bike roll. Yeah, no, good stuff. So, I'm just thinking back to one of my times. We were in an apartment and I was a little older, I think around 10, 11, and we built this little bike ramp because that's what you do, right, when you're that age.
Yeah, I never did.
And I just remember riding that bike as hard as and fast as I could. I got over that ramp, and the bike flipped up, and I came down and landed on my back. And that was the worst pain ever. Ooh. I remember in tears, running and crying, I don't know what happened. And so, yeah, I never was good with ramps. So, fun fact. But there you go. There's my confession. So we're going to talk today. We're going to kind of share maybe how you can use bikes to build relationships. We're going to talk about different styles, different things that you can do with them, and then some alternatives.
Yeah, and I will say Randall had that bike in the garage when we met. And he never really rode that bike. And it was like a false promise that he was a bike rider. And I secretly wanted to ride bikes again. He had it so long that it rusted the wheels. Rotted the wheels.
Well, fun fact, just for all you bike goers out there, if you're buying a bike and if you have a soft water system to where you have to put salt in there, that's normally kept in the garage.
Oh.
And if you store a bike in there, it will rust that bike very quickly. We learned that the hard way.
I never knew that. So
yeah, that's what happened to that bike. And I never got a lot of chances to ride it. And then the wheels rusted. And I was like, really? Seriously? You can't even stop it. Like the brakes wouldn't even work anymore on it. And I was like, oh man.
Yeah. Well, and I say that because this is one of those things we talk about all the time on here about having common interests, things that you like to do. And I'm not saying Randall doesn't like to ride bikes. He just, to me, it was like a false advertisement because he had a bike.
I have a bike
in the garage.
I don't use it.
And he never actually used it. But you each in your family, you each have these different things that you enjoy doing. And so this might be one of those activities that your whole family loves doing and you all have bikes, or it might be something that you particularly have a common interest with one of your kids or your stepkid, and that you can do this thing together.
Yeah, it's one of those to where, what we always talk about common interest, and it's finding things that you like doing together because that builds relationships. So maybe this is something that your biological kid loves doing or your bonus kid loves doing, or maybe it's your spouse. So it's cultivating that and creating those opportunities, like, hey, if I know that they love riding bikes, let's go ride our bikes together. Let's go, hey, you want to go to the park, or you want to go do this or that, or, so you can use this as a relationship building tool. So maybe you're struggling to connect with your bonus kids and you're like, I just don't know how to do it. Maybe they love riding bikes. Maybe bikes a thing that y'all can go ride around the block on or something.
And it's never too late, because my bonus daughter, Riley, she's 23 now, and she loves riding bikes. Out of our whole family, she's the one that wants to go ride bikes with me the most, and that is how her and I are able to connect with each other. My other two, they could care less, and Susan, she likes to ride bikes as well, but we don't have the opportunity as much. But my younger two, I guess because I scarred them at a young age, they never
yeah, bike phobia.
they never wanted to go ride bikes. They're not really as outdoorsy, and they like skateboards, and that's more their thing. And I'm not a skateboarder, where Randall was a skateboarder growing up, so that's a common interest they have. But for me and Riley, we have that interest together.
I can still ollie, y'all. I can ollie.
Can you?
Yeah, I can.
We need to do an episode on skateboarding.
I can, but yeah, I think the older you get, though, the more you're like, oh, I could really hurt myself really bad on this one. Maybe I don't need to do that. So yeah, some things you want to be careful with, which comes to equipment. Maybe whenever you do go biking, maybe you need a helmet.
Wait, is ollieing on a skateboard or a bike?
No, that's a skateboard.
Okay, I was like, oh, maybe I just don't know.
But no, I went back to the bikes. That brought up a good point. Maybe you are, wearing protective gear, or maybe some knee pads, some helmet, something of that nature.
You should wear helmets. I'm just going to say that. Will you ever see me in a helmet? Probably not.
But you see all those like serious bikers out there, like the ones that are on the Road Bike Warriors.
By them this morning. There was like
and they've all got their helmets, and some of them look really cool. Yeah. So maybe you just make it cool.
Maybe I haven't had the right helmet, but your children definitely wear a helmet.
Yeah, there you go. Wear a helmet, be safe.
We'll move past the safety issues now.
But now, if you're taking your bike, this could be a workout thing, or it could be a leisure thing. This could be like Mary Poppins going and riding a bike, out in the little neighborhood, frolicking through the woods.
And I'll say it could be a combo. I ride bikes as a workout, but I'm not wearing workout clothes. I do not have a sporty bike. I have a cruiser that has a big seat, and we'll talk more on like the different styles of bikes later. But for me, it is my workout. Going to the park and coming back is a 5-mile ride. I'm getting my heart going. It's definitely a leg workout, but I also do it as something that it's just that grounding moment for me. It gives me peace to be able to go ride in the woods. When Riley and we choose to go riding, sometimes it is around the block. Sometimes it's all the way to the park. Sometimes we have a destination in mind, and we'll go like, okay, we're going to go get coffee together. But instead of driving there, we'll ride our bikes. And we're in a neighborhood where it's a little questionable. Like, we don't look like we don't own cars and that we have to ride the bikes. But we also, it's like people like, what are they doing riding their bike over here? It's not like a biking community necessarily.
Isn't that society today? And it's kind of a shame in a sense that we feel guilty with riding our bike. We feel judged, yeah. That I can't even take my bike to go into the city or maybe go do things without people thinking something negative against me. So that is a shame, and that's something that we have to
normalize bike riding.
There it is. We are normalizing bike riding with this podcast. Right now, all bikes are normalized in every city for now on throughout the world.
So if you are a judger,
we have just set the record straight.
If you're one of the judgers, just know you cannot judge anymore because now it is normal. And if you have stayed off your bike going into town, I say into town, just out of your little suburb circle or wherever you're at, and going to the store, I've actually rode to the grocery store because I'm a weirdo, people, okay? I'm a weirdo, and I don't think things through all the way. Hang on. We'll be right back.
It's time to have some more blended family fun. Yeah, are you ready?
What was that?
I've been really working on this song. What do you think?
Sure. It's great, babe.
Well, it goes along with how to enjoy your blended family. You know, the 5 dates to discover fun in your step family, the greatest thing since sliced bread for blended families.
Okay, I get it now. I feel your excitement. But why don't you tell them about it instead of singing it to them?
Wow. Okay, shut me down. Why don't you? All right, let me try. When you have more fun together, you see less blended family drama. But we can get so caught up in life and problems that we miss out on really enjoying our family. So we'll walk you through 5 dates where you'll discover more fun your family loves and have a great plan to keep it going. How's that?
Pretty good. Short and sweet. I know that got them way more excited about all the fun possibilities they can experience with their family than your song did.
What? Seriously?
Well, you could have also told them that it not only creates more fun in their whole family doing this, but it also adds more fun in their marriage and gives them new ways to connect with their kids individually. It's also great for building that step-parent relationship. You could have said all that too.
I don't think you really appreciated all the work that I put in on that song.
Ay. Anyways, How to Enjoy Your Blended Family, 5 Dates to Discover Fun in Your Stepfamily is available for you today. Discover more fun and you'll see less problems. The link to get started is in the show notes of this episode.
Have more fun with your blended family and go on these 5 dates today. You'll be so glad you did. Yeah.
Really? You had to go there again. Let's get back to this episode. So one time I needed to get my exercise in and I needed to get groceries. So I rode the bike. This is not long ago, like within the last 6 months. I rode my bike down to one of our smaller grocery stores. I was going to just go for a few items, but you know how it is when you get there. I got more items.
I should get this. I should get that.
I got a lot of meat. I didn't think through the fact that I don't have a basket. I do have a basket, but I got too much stuff to put it in my little basket on the front. And I don't have like a crate or anything in the back.
You see where this one's going.
So I'm carrying 2 grocery bags on my handlebars and I'm like wobbling
Try to balance
back and forth across like this busy street. And I felt the judgment from others. I know.
You were judging yourself.
I was judging myself.
You just know if the judgment starts from within, it's coming out.
If you see me on the streets, just honk twice and shout, "I love you," and it lets me know you're my people. Yes.
So, the point is, don't judge. I mean, we can ride our bikes wherever, and it's okay. It's okay. We're getting leisure and we're getting exercise in the same time, and we're building relationships. So, bam.
Yes. So this is your own personal time. This is time that you are connecting with someone in your family that you love. We just shared with you all different kinds of ways. You can have a destination. You can go ride in the woods. Me and Riley have even gone, put the bikes in the back of the truck and drove all the way to Houston, which is like an hour away, just so that we could go ride in a different relationship. And the beauty in that, because do we need to go all the way an hour away to Houston to ride bikes? And when we got there, we were at a park that didn't let you ride bikes. That may or may not have happened. That may or may not have happened. But we had a whole hour of that shoulder time of jamming out to music, having deep conversations on the way there and the way back. Because when you're riding bikes, you don't get a whole lot of conversations depending on the environment that you're in. You might have to be like front and back to each other. You don't really get to go side to side. But we just created this whole afternoon of spending time together. So
if you're like saying, yeah, no, I want to ride a bike, but I don't have a bike. Sounds good. We don't have bikes, and to buy, maybe we're a family of 5, 6. For us to buy that many bikes is crazy. That's really a lot of money. So maybe you're in that boat. Well, this episode's coming out right near Christmas. So maybe this is a Christmas gift. Maybe somebody in your family really wants to ride bikes. Maybe you're asking, hey, you like riding bikes? And they don't have one. So that could be a Christmas thing. Like you did your common interest that we talk about on how to enjoy your blended family, and y'all discovered, they like bike riding and you want to get them a bike. Yes,
bikes are like the best Christmas present because they're big. And, you know, when you get big stuff, it feels like you're winning the lottery at Christmas time. But you also don't even have to buy bikes brand new. They have bikes on like whatever, like Facebook Marketplace or something like that, your online virtual stuff in your neighborhood to buy things. They have bikes at pawn shops all the time or garage sales because people get great ideas of riding bikes and then they don't follow through or decide they don't actually like.
They're like,
riding
yeah,
bikes.
it just sits in my garage. So
Yeah, and look, I got a lot to say about bikes. Can you tell? I'm very passionate about the bikes. But you also want to like just take into consideration the type of bike you're buying. Or are we going to talk about that here in just a bit?
No, go ahead.
Different. Because I just want to say, like, I borrowed a friend's bike before I got my own bike, and she had one of those like 10 speeds that had a tiny seat. That seat,
a little painful.
it was so painful that I could not sit down. And my only options were to sit down or stand up while I was riding the bike. And both of them were not positive experiences. So I shelved the idea of riding a bike for a long time until I went on vacation. So this is where I was going with this. I went on vacation with that same friend. And on this like hotel resort, you could rent a bike there. And so I rented one of their bikes, and they were the cruisers, like from back in the day with the long seats. And I was like, this is enjoyable. I want to do this all the time.
Well, and you can even swap out your seats. So I've done that on a bike. In fact, the bike we have in the garage, if you find a bike that you like and it's got a little tiny seat on it, they do make other seats or they make seat cushions. So you can do those things to make your riding a lot more enjoyable because it can get painful. But yeah, that's if you're buying a bike, you know, those are some options to where if you want to do that, get them for your family so you always have them. But there are the renting options. Maybe this is something you're wanting to try out for a little bit just to see if you want to invest in a bike. So rent. There are places that you can actually rent, like bigger cities. You can go rent bikes. Sometimes the library has things, which is crazy.
I'm glad you brought that up. Because our library has things that you can rent. We talked about that. We just got the telescope that we've been on hold for this telescope all summer long, and we finally get it. Well, as I began to talk with the librarian, she's like, we have a tandem bike. I think that's what it's called.
Tandem bike.
The 2-seater bikes there we can ride like we're on the same bike. And I was so excited when I came out of the library. I was like, oh, hot dog, we get to rent a tandem bike and we're going to get to ride around the neighborhood. Like, this brings joy to my heart. And I come out and I tell him, and it's yellow, which is my favorite color. So I'm like, this is just meant to be. And I tell him about this, and what was your answer?
Heck no.
He's like, heck no, that's a negative.
That's a hard pass.
Yeah, he was like, that's a negative. That's a hard pass. And he crushed my dreams.
I crushed your dreams. But see, we got to take a backstory, because the backstory is on vacation many moons ago. We had
like
rented
12 years
We
ago.
had rented this one. It was a multi-bike that's together. So I think it had like 4 pedals on it. It could have had more. But we got on it as a family, and we were running down a pier, biking.
It looks more like a cart, like that you sat inside, like a golf cart.
Yeah,
it was
but
bike
each
style.
seat had a pedal that contributed to this thing moving forward. And we were on a wall, a beach wall, seawall, and I was the only one doing the work.
Well,
like, it all fell on me, which now this is a bigger unit, which requires more leg power. By the end of it, my shirt was off and my legs were worn out. And I'm like, this is not a fun vacation.
Well, one, we were early on in our relationship, and you just were looking for an excuse to take your shirt off. And 2, in the kids' defense, they were young. No defense for myself. I don't know why I didn't help more.
So, little scarred, little triggered. Yeah, a tandem bike. And to me, that just... I don't know.
But this could be
that,
a
for me, I'm like,
experience. For us, you have to ride in unison. This could build our relationship.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, you go to the library and you
That's
surprise me one time.
There,
with that.
there you go. You can rent tandem bikes, and you will be surprised at the things you can rent at a library. We were blown away the more we discovered what you can rent. So maybe check your local libraries and see if they have bikes that you can go rent instead of investing in on a bike. So yeah, that's, use this as just ways to really help build those relationships.
Before we let you go, though, and we kind of said this, we kind of touched in this throughout this episode, but I just want to give that disclaimer and warning. Don't go buy your whole family bikes if you have kids or a spouse that have no interest in riding a bike, because they're going to sit in your garage, they're going to take up a lot of space, and your younger kids are going to outgrow those bikes, because we did that with ours and they didn't want to ride them. And then every time I looked at that bike, I got that pit in my stomach about how I wasted that money during Christmas time and I could have done something different. But in my mind, in my vision, we were going to be a bike riding family. And the rest of the house did not want to be a bike riding family.
All down the block. Here we go. There's the Tandies. Tandies are on their bikes again.
So know
And look, they look so happy. Is that a picnic basket they have?
Know your audience. Yeah, I want to ride with a picnic basket and go do a picnic. I am a simple girl that just wants simple yet very out of the box extravagant things for my dates.
Because that's not complicated at all. Not at all. Not at all. But seriously, bikes are fun. Use this thing of the past that we don't do very often, or maybe we just did as kids, but bring it back and see if you and any of your other members of your family have that common interest, that you can utilize that to help build those relationships, to get out of the house, to have fun together, and to really grow together while on a bike. And maybe even it's a tandem bike. Who knows?
Maybe. And I hope this leaves you with just very fond memories from your bike riding experiences. Share those stories with your spouse. Share those stories with your kids and laugh. I mean, just you learn new stuff like we were talking about. And those are just more moments that are going to connect you with your family.
Definitely. Listen, we love you guys, and we will see you on the next episode. Later.
Bye. Thanks for joining us today. We hope this episode has been a blessing and encouraged your family journey.
Make sure you stay connected with us and join our weekly Blended Family newsletter. We send an email out every Friday morning full of support and encouragement.
And when you join, we also want to give you a free gift. So go get yours today. The link is in the show notes below.
Have an amazing day. Remember to enjoy the journey with your blended family, and we'll see you on the next episode.